So what do you first have to do? You have to declare them to be subhuman, right? You call them savages, and you say that they have no culture, so that now you can say that you are fulfilling some divine edict from your God that says this land is yours. Go and conquer all that's on it and take it, right? We know the stories, unfortunately, whatever. So they come in and it's a free for all for white people because they're the only ones allowed to own land. White men, only ones allowed to own land. And I'm saying white men because they're the ones who could contractually own land, but I'm not giving white women a pass because y'all sat right next to his ass and inherited every last bit of that wealth and every last bit of that privilege. In fact, you had more privilege than the white man because you were his prized possession. So even though you didn't have authority, you got a lot of lavishment. All right, you were the most protected. The white woman is the most protected person to this day in the nation. But anyway, that's a different subject. So that means the first people to own land, you get everything that's on that land. Those are trees, that's mineral resources, that's oil, that's anything that's tied to it, you get to have. And only you get to have it. No one else is allowed to own anything. Native Americans can't own anything, black people can't own anything, nobody can own anything but you. So that means you get all that wealth. Now, that wealth is going to grow over time, as we were just covering. So that's where a lot of, when he was saying the momentum of history kicks in. When you've had 300, 400 years to secure the mineral wealth, the physical wealth, and the physical rights to land, that's a lot of increasing of value that you get to have. By the time Black people, Native Americans, and others are able to own land, we are having to buy land that you're willing to sell us. And we're having to buy it at the higher rate of the current market. And you're not going to sell the best of it. You're going to sell the residential land. You're not going to sell the mineral land. In fact, another part of the story, they write treaties to the indigenous Americans and they give them land that they said was worthless. And it was, oh, this is your ceremonial land? Fine, go there, and push all of them off into what was considered worthless land until technology caught up with it and realized, wait a minute, there's mineral wealth here. So then they violate all the treaties, steal the land, and push the indigenous people even further into nowhere. So that is the story of America and how wealth accumulates here. So it's oftentimes people who will push back against you about, well, things are better now, or they'll give you that dumb thing about Black people in America are doing better than Black people in Africa type garbage. Don't believe that shit. I'm sorry, guys. I don't believe that. They're distorting the narrative to try to get you where they want you to go, because the value is the value is the value, and somebody got to inherit all that. And then last piece, you'll have people who say, well, my family didn't own slaves. My family doesn't have a lot. We don't have all this land you're talking about. Well, if you track it back, a lot of times you don't have a lot. You don't have the land because someone in your family history sold it. It's not because you didn't have it. Someone back here cashed in and sold it, so it didn't continue to move down the bloodline. That's part of the reality. Or someone back here in your family history decided to hold it all for themselves and not share it, so it ended up getting choked off and staying with one particular part of the family, and the rest of the family was left destitute. That's not the same thing. So I just think that's important to point out too. But that's it.